All right. Welcome to lab number two. We're going to be applying your branding today, and I hope everybody had a good time making up their brand and logos and colors and all that kind of stuff, and kind of picking the products that you're going to sell. For this exercise, I chose my brand is going to be a company that makes 3D printed objects for people. So either takes the objects that somebody sends and prints them on demand, or creates them for the person that is requesting them. So it's kind of a print on demand. Imagine people like printing stickers, custom made, but let's do it with 3D printed items. And so we'll make some items, and then we'll also do a print on demand. And so today we're going to walk through how we're going to apply the brand to your website. And I'm going to run through a few quick things on your website just to give you guys a kind of overview of where things are located. So when you come to your website, you're going to come to the home page here. Should look like this. You're going to be able to see like home, orders, products, customers, marketing, discounts, content, markets, finance, analytics, online store, and then apps. Settings are down here, and we'll be working with settings. But let's just start with what we're going to be working on today. And we're going to be applying the styles and colors and things like that to your theme. And the theme is located right here. So if you go to online store, themes, you'll see that Horizon is the theme that we'll be using this year. And you'll be able to edit the theme in this area right here. Horizon is the base theme for Shopify now. It used to be a couple of debut and some other ones, but Horizon actually has quite a few nice features, and it has everything that we need to do to build out our brands this year. And so that's where you'll go to find the theme. And we're going to start by demonstrating like where things are located as far as imagery, logos, and other things like that. So what we'll start off with is we're going to go to content and files. We're going to upload some files. You can do that right in the upper right corner here. Uploading a file. Click on that, and you can select a file to upload. I've already done that with a few files, and so I'm going to go to my Gemini created logo. I use Gemini to create a logo, and so as you can see here, sometimes when you get a logo generated from AI, you're going to get it with background, and you might not be exactly what you want, might not be exactly the crop that you want. Shopify allows you to do that by clicking in and editing the image here. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to rename the image my form and fold logo. The alt text is going to be form and fold logo for 3D printing on demand. Then I'm going to go to my crop and transform. When you go to crop and transform, you can do it in presets here so that it fits specific sizing. When we talk about cropping pictures for your products, we'll talk about using these preset versions here. For this one, we're going to go freeform because we want to get this logo as tight as we can to the image. So I'm going to try and get that really tight to the image. I don't want my logo to have a lot of white space around it. So I just want it to have a minimum amount of white space around it. And then I'm going to hit the apply button. As you can see now, it still has a background in it. So at this point, I want to go to color background. It's going to analyze the picture. Going to kind of pull out some things. So you can see it kind of outlined what it thinks is in the foreground. I want to use this one, which has the checkerboard, and what that'll do is it'll create a no background so that it can be used on different other backgrounds, and it's going to be what's called like a transparent PNG. And so I want to click that, and then I want to save it, or I can save it as new. So I'm going to save it as new, so I have the original in here. I'm going to save it as new. And there it is. There's my name, my alt text. Now wherever it appears, it'll have this alt text on it. Now, if I wanted to change some other things, like I could generate it, I could change the background to a studio, I could change the background to a living room. I can just ask it to put this logo on something. So put this logo onto a coffee cup. Now, I've not tried this yet, so we'll see how it does, but it's getting better and better at being able to, use AI to put this logo onto something, or put a background on it. This is great for products. If you just have a product, like say you had a coffee cup and you wanted to put it on a table, you could ask it to put that coffee cup on a table. Let's see what it does here. Takes a second. And look at that. Put that coffee cup put it right on a coffee cup. So now I could use this throughout the site as a image for my products or for my brand. I could, if I was making branded products, but I didn't actually have the physical product or photo of the physical product, I could ask it to do this, put it on X, put it on Y. That way I could have my logo on it. Other things that you might want to try, if you want to try this, is have it engrave the logo on a product, or laser engrave it, or CNC it into some wood or leather. So you could ask it to do that, and then you could always just go save as new. And it gave it a new name. It doesn't have any alt text here yet. We can fill all that in and resave it. But a lot of powerful things to do in how to remove the background, how to edit the image, and then be able to use your imagery within your site. Just as an aside, I might be like, well, this one is kind of I want to make this a more vertical picture, so I want to have it be in a 4:5 ratio, and that's kind of what I want right there, because I'm going to show it in a taller format. I can apply that, and again, I could save as new. So editing images, very powerful in Shopify. I would have to say that it's at least double the power that it was just a year ago when we did this class. It has a lot more options and a lot more functionalities. You can see if I go to content, files, here's my new imagery here. So we've talked about where to find the imagery, upload it, edit it, removing backgrounds, changing the names, changing the alt text. And by the way, alt text, for those of you who don't know, that's what you're telling search engines that the text, what the image is. So even if the image is my coffee cup with my logo on it, you would never say coffee cup with my logo. You'd say coffee cup with the form and fold logo on it. It is also what is used for accessibility. So as you have screen readers for the blind or folks that can't see very well, if they use a screen reader, it's going to tell them what that image is made out of. So it's going to describe that image. So think of it as describing the image for a blind person. How would you describe it? A white coffee cup with the logo for form and fold on on it. And you can talk about where it's sitting or what it's doing, but definitely alt text is underused and should be used more. Shopify gives that power to you right in the image editor. So how do we then take and apply this logo to the site? Well, we do it in a couple different areas. And so first what we're going to do, if I have this in the right order, is we are going to go to our branding. And to get to branding, we're going to go to Settings, General, and where's my branding? Brand. Here it is. And we're going to add branding to our site. To start with, we got a default logo. To add one, it'll look like this when you get here. You're going to click it, and for example, this is going to be the square logo, and I've already created one, but I'm going to go in here, add this. Oh, you know what? I have to edit that out because I'll discard that. I have to go in to my content files, and I have to edit this one. So I'm going to crop and transform. I want it square. I am going to look at this one here, edit it for a square logo. I'm going to apply it. And for this purpose, I'm not going to do all the alt text while we're talking about it. But now I have a square logo. I go back to my branding, and I'm going to see my square logo there. And I'm going to add, oh, I don't want that one. I did. Okay. Well, I don't know why it's showing the old one, but anyways, if you need to, you can change the image, and resize it and everything like that. So I'll probably come back and do that later. So then we're going to apply our brand colors. Now, hopefully you have your brand guide. So you have hex colors for your brand. If you look into my logo here, I've got a dark blue, a teal, and a dark slate gray. So those are my three colors that I've got. So I have my primary color is my dark navy blue. I can have a contrasting color. So if I chose to have a different contrasting color, I'm just using white here. But if you did have a contrasting color, you might want to put that in. Some folks use like a gray or something like that so that the contrast is there. Second is my teal, and then my slate gray color here. Contrasting color being white. So for anything that is teal, my text would be white on there. For anything that's my primary color, my text would be white on there. Next, I'm going to add a cover image. So I created a cover image for this, and I wanted to have an image that kind of talks about my brand. And so this image should be 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels as a minimum. And you can see that's also right here. And here's the interesting thing. So if I remove it, let's say I remove that and I put it in here, I could actually generate an image. And so I can ask it to create an image based upon my brand, my current other brand guidelines and information about my brand. So I'm going to just go back to this one and put that one in there. Now, slogan. We didn't talk about this yet, but you'll have to think about it. And so the slogan, or what we call a tagline, is what sets your brand apart. So for example, for Nike, just do it. That's their slogan. That's their tagline. Now they have other taglines on specific ads and for specific campaigns and things like that, but just do it. That's their tagline. So if you were to see the Nike swoosh, you'd see just do it right underneath it. So slogan is where you'd add your brand statement. And in our case here, in my case, my tagline is your ideas brought to depth. Not sure I really love it, but that's what it is. And so I'm going to add my slogan, your ideas brought to depth. And so I'm adding that slogan in here. Remember to always save often, because if you don't click save, it won't be applied. And then the next thing is a short description. So this is a short description of the brand and what it's about. And so you would type in your short description in that area. You're going to add social links, and you notice you can add tons of different social links in here. We're not going to add them because we aren't going to go and create social brand pages for our brands, but just to know that's where you would do it in this branding area. All right, so we've already started. We got some things going, and we are about ready to now start into the theme itself. Now, because we've uploaded this information into the brand here, what it's going to do is going to help create things in the theme. It'll default to these um, logos and colors in the theme if we don't specify, but we're going to do some specification in there. So we're going to go to the online store, and we're going to go to the edit theme. So there's two different things that you can edit in the theme. So you can edit the code. I'm going to show it to you. And this is where you can actually go in and edit the liquid, the JSON, the CSS, and you can edit them line by line. So if I was to go into a section here and I want to go to the footer and I wanted to edit the footer, I can actually go in and edit the code itself in here. We're not going to get into that in this class. That's a little more advanced, and you have to know a little bit more about not only Liquid, which is kind of a PHP-based code, HTML, CSS, but also about how the JSON is applied, which is the customizations that run the site. And we're not going to get into it in this class, but it is definitely something that you would want to learn if you were going to be managing a Shopify store, at least at a base level, so that you can understand like how it works and where things are located after you customize them. So we're going to work in the edit theme button. Now this is the live theme, so anything we change in here will be live. We do have it password protected. All of the stores are password protected because they're not pay stores yet. So you're not paying for them, so they're not live stores, so they're password protected. But we're going to go in and we're going to edit the theme. We often call this the customizer because we're customizing the theme through a WYSIWYG editor. So it's like a what you see is what you get editor. And there's many different things that we can adjust. We're going to talk today just about the brand areas and what we need to adjust in the brand areas. So we'll start by going to the left side here. You've got your exit back to the admin. The sections list, this is all the sections, and we're on the home page right now. So these are the sections. We'll be coming back and editing the sections at another time. But we're going to go to the gear wheel, which is the theme settings. So we start off with logo and favicon, and you can see that my logo has already been uploaded here. You can see form and fold is up here. My inverse logo. Now, I don't know that this is actually a really good inverse logo. The inverse logo would probably be something would be white text because it would be on a dark background. So if somebody was looking at this and they inverted the theme where my headline here was black, my form and fold wouldn't show because it doesn't have a good contrast on a black background. So I would say, you'd want to do, if you wanted to do this, you would invert the text on your logo. You can do that through that transformation, like where we put it on a coffee cup. You could say, please invert the text to white, and it would do that for you, invert all the text. We can also now customize the height. So if I want it really big, let's see, it's going to change. See, I can change the size of my logo and my mobile height, so I can do them separately. I would never want a mobile logo to be 100 pixels. That would take up a ton of space. So we're just going to get it down to a manageable logo here. We'll go back to like 34, 35. You can edit it so that it looks real nice on your site. That's probably the best thing to do. We have a favicon uploaded, and I'm going to show you the favicon. Select from my library here. So I used the F with the colors as my favicon. All right, so we've located a few of the logos in here and we've got them uploaded. For colors, Shopify does colors in schemes, which is great because you can create multiple schemes. You can just add as many as you'd like, I think, well, up to a certain point, but more than you probably need. So we have, scheme A, scheme one, which this one I've already applied all my colors. So I've applied my gray, my dark blue, my teal. I've applied that all throughout the scheme. So this is my main scheme, scheme one. Now, if I wanted to say I have an inverted scheme, so I have scheme five, and you can see that my background for scheme five is a dark color. Now, say if I wanted to apply my colors to this scheme, I might invert them so that this would actually be my dark blue and my headings could be in teal. So we would put the teal on the dark blue. You can go through and edit these out and just see what you like about them. And then I'm going to show you where you can apply them so you can see how it would look. So I'm going to save this one for now. And go through and definitely create at least 2 or 3 schemes that you can use. It's not one and done. Down the road, if you get to a section and you're like, oh, I'd really like this section to be black, or and my colors aren't that, or I'd really want it to be my primary color for a background, even if it's bright or something like that, because I just want it to stand out. You can go ahead and do that by editing the scheme at that point or adding a new scheme at that point. All right, typography. We talked a little bit about typography, and we wanted to make sure that we have our fonts chosen. Now, if you chose a font that isn't in the Shopify site, I'd like you just to change it. Get one that's close. Find one that's close, because we don't want to have to upload new fonts to the site at this point. What I'd like to do here is for my body text, I'm going to use this one, which is Enter. Subheadings, I'm going to use Montserrat. Let's see here. And so I pick that one. Now I can say, well, my subheadings, I want that in Montserrat regular. So that's good. Let's select that one. But then for my headings, I want to use Montserrat bold. So I can choose here, I can say, oh, I want this one as semi-bold or bold, extra bold, like all sorts of different ways I can use this. Not every font has all the different styles, but a lot of them have some. And so, yeah, see, you can see now that I wanted to use bold, and you see how that changed right here? So now if I said, no, I want to be extra bold, and it even got chunkier there. So I didn't like that one, so I'm just going to go let's see what semi-bold is. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to select that one. And then for accent, I'll use Enter for that. So I'm using those 3. So that means that this text here is in Enter. Down here, that's this get exclusive deals. That's in Enter. And my heading, join our email list, is in Montserrat. Text presets. So for paragraph, I can say, I want my paragraphs to be bigger. I want it to be 18. So it should, see it bump up this one right here. Oh, 18 is a little big. I didn't quite like 14, but there we go. 16 is perfect. Line height, I want it loose. But if I wanted it tight, because I have a text, I want to snug up everything, you'd see that it would go there. I'm going to go normal for mine. For heading ones, I can, use the heading font. I can change the size, change how the line height is, and change the letter spacing. So I can say I want it looser, so you'll see it opens up the text in there for the heading 1. For heading 2, same thing. I can, line height is tight, line spacing, I want to open it up. So it'll open up wherever heading 2 is. Heading 3, heading 4, it can adjust all your different headings through here. What this does is then it saves it in the JSON that drives the site when we're making edits on the site and the site's being displayed. So you go through and edit those. I'm going to do page layout to also. So we have the page width, and this is narrow, normal, or wide. So like imagine a wide screen. If I have a very wide screen, it's going to go all the way across by default. And so it'll make everything full width. If I'm going to go narrow, it's probably going to cut my sides off on a desktop widescreen. For laptop, it'd probably fit. It'd probably fit in a laptop. But we're gonna go with normal. So you won't notice a big difference here, but you will, unlike when it would be on a previewed on a widescreen. There are tons of other customizations that we can go through here, and what I'd like you to do is just go down through and kind of look at these and see what look at each one of them. As I'm not going to go through them all, but like on the site, there's animations that you can do. So from page transitions, if you go to your product cards, hover over effects. So if I'm on a product card and I hover over my badges, so you notice that our sweatshirt is on sale because the price is discounted from the original price to 29. That's a generated badge. And so like if we wanted to change the color scheme on the sale badge, let's say I wanted to make it have a little background there, I could go and say, oh yeah, I want that sale badge to have a different background color. If I want to go and I would create a new one, which I might want to because maybe I want it red for sale, I can go back to my schemes and create one, scheme 8 for the sale badge. Also in the typography, if I wanted this, I want it all uppercase for my badges. Notice it changed this to sale all uppercase. For buttons, so like here's a button, right? Shop all. There's a button. Notice the little white spots on the right and on all the corners. That's because the corners are rounded. And so what I can do is I can change the rounding. So I can change it to 100%, and that's like a pill style. I can change it to 0 pixels, and now it's a square button. Most sites are either rounded slightly, pill, or square. So you can choose your rounding, you can choose it, but you should apply it across everything that you can. So for example, my email address button down here is set to pill. So if for any pills I want 0, notice, oh, that one didn't do it. I'm gonna go up here. Let's see if that one, nope. So that must be an input. I'll have to figure out where we edit that one because I'm going to go with square things for my site. The cart, you can have different things for your cart. You can have a drawer cart which slides out from the right. You can have a page, so you have a cart page that you go to. Product titles in the cart, uppercase, lowercase. You can use different fonts. You can have the auto cart, add to cart, auto opens the drawer. So if I add to cart, it slides out. So other cart features, you can go through here and try them, see which ones that you like, and so on and so forth. Different things like your iconography. So do you want your icons to have a stroke outline on them? Input fields. So here's a corner radius. So I'm going to see if that one changes. No, didn't change on the email address. So we'll find that one eventually. Popovers and modals. What is this? So like a pop-up or something that slides out. How does that look? How do I want the prices to appear? Currency code. This is interesting. So if I wanted on the let's see, product cards, if I wanted to do this, if I was international, I would want what currency. It's hard to see here, but it's USD. But what currency? Since I'm only selling in the US, I don't really care. It's all assumed it's US dollars. On product cards, what scheme am I using there? What about it? Search, swatches, variant pickers, and then we can always do custom CSS. So even if you don't know how to edit your site in the code editor, if you were to say, hey, I just need some CSS to edit this one spot here. I want to edit something in my email section. I could find that All right, we're back. I get 30 minutes and I have to restart. So in the CSS we were just talking about, we can edit CSS directly in here. It edits it for the settings. You'll see it when we get into the sections, but you can edit just that section with some CSS, which is really nice if you just want to make a slight edit on that. We'll show how that works. So now that we're done with editing all of the different colors, the logos, and everything like that on my site, I'm going to hit save. And now I've saved my changes. So as you can see, I've applied my logo, some coloration, and yeah, here's my teal. That's my color down there. Now, as we go through this, we might be like, well, I don't really like the way that teal looks there. I actually don't. So I'm going to be changing that down the road, and we'll probably use a little bit different color, and I'll use my teal as a different accent color around the site. So now I'm going to exit out of this, and we're going to do a few other things as far as, setting up the site and making sure that we got everything applied to the site. And I'm going to go to online store and preferences. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to change our password. I want everybody to change their password on their store to Stout. This is just so Kevin and I can take a look at what you've done and give you feedback and make sure that everything gets done correctly. So you just put it in all lowercase Stout. For the homepage title, so this is the title of your store. What makes a good homepage title? So good homepage title is definitely something that describes your store, describes it as uniquely as you can, and you want it to stand out. It usually always has your brand name. It's going to have a little bit about your store. You only have 70 characters. This is what's going to appear in your brand search. So if I search for REI in Google, so let's search for REI. I'm going to pull it up here. So REI, a life outdoors is a real life well lived. REI Co-op. So that is their page title for their homepage. Let's see if they have enough. No, they don't. They're not doing any paid ads right now on their brand. But in your paid ads, you could change that. You could have that different. So that is their page title. So it tells about their store. And so if I wanted to look for outdoor clothing, I'm going to get some different ones here. So I'm going to get down with the REI. There they are. There's their page title. Backcountry, outdoor gear and clothing for ski, snowboard, ... So they actually have. I'm not sure that that's really a great idea because they like some of their stuff went beyond the visible here on search. Patagonia, outdoor clothing and gear. Now, not sure that that's great, but Mountain Hardware, technical outdoor gear and apparel. Some of these are actually they're going to land on their outdoor gear page. And so that's the page title for their outdoor gear page, not necessarily their home page. But that's the title. Then the meta description comes right underneath. Now, Google, in their infinite wisdom, will use your page to generate this based upon the search that we see. So the REI one here, top branded clothing, outdoor adventures, it might be that their actual meta description contains parts of this, but isn't exactly like this. So we want to make sure that we're always using a meta description that's as descriptive as we possibly can, but we don't want to use necessarily make it really long and wordy, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit highlights just inside of here. So for example, Sierra feels that free shipping on $89 plus orders is very important, and it is. And they actually have put that in as the first part of their meta description on here. Why would I do that instead of saying, like a little bit about my store? Well, because if I'm shopping and I'm shopping for outdoor clothing, Sierra comes up and they shop active and outdoor apparel, footwear, and more, dot, dot, dot. But then free shipping. Hey, that's probably something I'm very interested in as a shopper. And then find a vast selection, epic brands, and teeny tiny prices. Like that, teeny tiny prices. So they're really getting into their meta description, some suggestive information that make me want to click more, even if I don't know the brand. So we're going to put that in here in our homepage title, and for my homepage, we're going to put form and fold on demand 3D printing for you. And I can put in anything I want for a meta description. And I'm actually going to ask Gemini to do that for me. Let's see here. Got one for me right there. Turn your digital designs into reality with form. Oh, I'm going to put some spaces in there. Form and fold, custom 3D printed services, speed, shop now. Sharing logo. I could add an image. So what do I want to add there from an image? And I'm going to use my image there. And we're going to set up some other things in our preferences. What country are we in? We're in the US, and what language. If we wanted to, we could put it in multiple languages. One of the great things about Shopify is it does have an auto translator, and it's actually very, very good. The French is almost perfect, seeing as they're out of Toronto. So their French translation is very good. We'll enable spam protection and some other things here. We'll kind of leave that. And then we can create a signature for our crawlers, and that's going to tell our crawlers what to do when they come to the site. I'm not going to get into that today. We really just wanted to do was get our password done, our homepage title, and our meta description, along with an image for social sharing. I'm going to save that. So, in conclusion, we're going to go through in this week, and we're going to take all that really cool branding and naming of the site that you did, and we're going to apply it to the website. And we should be able to see that we've got our colors in there, we got our fonts, different styles. And then what we'll do in the coming weeks is we'll be using this branding to apply it to different sections in the site to better brand the site and look like what we want it to look like. You're going to be doing this right in Shopify. So if you do have any questions that you can't get into the site, can't find these different areas in the site, doesn't look exactly like it looked for me, just give us a shout and an email, and we can direct you as far as where to go. And Kevin will be giving you the list of deliverables. Have a great day.